Okay, so we are live, and let's see that everything is working. Okay, this is working, and Twitch is working as well, which is cool. All right, so I'm basically continuing the live stream, and so if you haven't watched yesterday, what I've done yesterday is if we go to YouTube here and we go to the Fullstack network and let's go to the channel. So first, kind of let's paste the channel here into the chat. And yesterday, what what I've done is I basically went through one of the kind of computer science courses, and I took all the problems that they have there for basically for one exercise, and I took it apart and wrote it with Python. So that was really fun, and I really had a lot of time, a lot of fun. And, it was a fun experience for me because I don't get to work on simple stuff like that anymore. So just like working on something as simple as that, and thinking through something as simple as that, it was really fun for me and a fun experience. So definitely had a lot of fun yesterday doing that Python TDD stuff. And what I thought is going to be fun today is maybe kind of continue that and maybe take on some requests from the crowd, so to speak. So really kind of make this interactive in a way that people will have a chance to ask questions, whether those questions are directly related to what I'm working on or directly related to what you're working on, right? I will leave that choice to you. And yeah, I think it's gonna be fun because it's definitely something I don't get to do every day. Kind of work on simple problems like that. Um, all right, so I think unless and we don't have a lot of people right now in the chat, which is pretty obvious. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start with what I had yesterday, and kind of go through. Um, kind of go through what I've done, and so on. All right, so let me just before that tweet something out, just so other people will know that the stream is live here as well. Okay, so let's do this. All right, so that's tweeted out, and now I guess people know that we're here. Cool. So let's see what we have here. So let's jump on to what we've done yesterday. So let's just set up a couple of things here. And just let me set up the font size, because I think, hey, Roadski, welcome to the stream. Profiles and text, and this is too big for the screen size. Let's make it 14. And now this is good. Okay, so Roadski, so for you, what I'm doing today is basically an interactive stream. So the point is to, more than really work on what I want to, is answer questions and, interact with the people in the chat. So if you have any questions, and I know you always have, interesting questions and interesting interactions, then feel free to ask them and let me know. So basically what I've done yesterday is, what was it called? Finland or Helsinki? Helsinki, yeah. And then here's what we do. So Python-m unit test. So we had 12 tests yesterday. And if we split the screen, so Rodsky is saying that he cannot see the stream. So let's see why. So let's go to live edu. I actually checked. So let's go to live edu and check. I don't see any dropped frames. So definitely should be good. Yeah, I see the stream fine. Yeah, I see the stream fine. And you can actually see it now on the stream. All right, so the way it works, just so people know, is that we have the chat on live edu here, and we have the chat on Twitch here. And if anybody asks a question, then I switch to the chat and answer the question, and then basically go through to the code again. So Matt Gaming on Twitch, welcome, and let me know if you have any questions. Omen X on live edu, welcome to the stream. Let me know if you have any questions. On the right side, the right top side above me here, you can see a few more info points on the stream. So feel free to go there. There's the stream info. There's my Twitter, and so on and so forth. So definitely feel free to use those while the stream is on. And I also opened up a Discord. And Discord is basically a chat for the stream. So if anybody has questions, you can join there. It's avi.io/Discord, and you can land on Discord. It's totally free to join, totally free to chat. So feel free to jump in there. So someone has a question on Twitch. So let's open up that question and read it. So I'm trying to make a website for Node. What kind of things should I worry about in terms of user authentication and validation? Any good NPM for that type of stuff? All right. So basically, I think this is a great question. And when you make a new website, there is definitely a lot of things like that you need to worry about. So what I would do is I would say that. And it really depends on what type of website do you want. But if people are signing into your website, then first thing you need to worry about is authentication. And authentication, for basically any website, you need a username and a password. And if this website is for streamers, then you need a Twitch authentication. And if it's for Redditors, then you need a Reddit authentication. And if it's for, something else, then you need maybe Facebook and Twitter, right? And for username and password, then you need, hash, salt, do not store simple text, and so on and so forth. So, Matt, let me just jump to your question again here. So, I have no clue how to use any kind of APIs yet. So, I think you really shouldn't worry about that too much. And there are a few projects like that I've seen, and actually one that I've used. So let's see, it's Hackathon Starter Node, something like that, I think. Yeah, there it is. So Hackathon Starter, as you can see, it's like a boilerplate for Node.js apps. And you have authentication there, as you can see here. So sign in with an email and a password, and then you have a Facebook and a Twitter and Google and GitHub and Instagram and so on and so forth. So you definitely have a lot of things here. You already have Yarn, and you already have, a lot of things. And oh, sorry, I'm not on the right screen. So, yeah. I'm sorry. So this is the right screen. I'm sorry about that. So as you can see, this is the Hackathon Starter. I pasted the link to the GitHub page on both chats as well. By the way, this is a really common mistake by me, and not to switch the screen. So please let me know if I forgot to switch, because sometimes, definitely if I code and I forget to switch the screen, that's not, not a smart move. All right. So this is a really good project. I can't say I worked with it specifically, but I worked with other projects like it. And it's definitely good because it gives you a great starting point. There is also another one. No, not this one. Stripe membership node starter. That's another one here. Yeah, that one. This one I actually used. So this one I actually used. And now Matt on Twitch is asking, isn't it better in terms of learning by doing it yourself? So here is my approach. The question is, what is the purpose? If the purpose is learning, sure, do it yourself. But there is a lot of things that you need to worry about for things like that. So you need to worry about, like I said, you need to worry about authentication. You need to worry about authorization. You need to worry about hashing, salting, crypting. How do you store and stuff like that. So to me, doing this is considered what I call jarhead code, right? It's code that you will normally never, ever write. I mean, even for established companies, you normally use something that is already ready. And you don't do it because you're lazy. You're doing it because if it's open source and a lot of people work with it, then a lot of people kind of ironed out all of the little bugs and quirks that you don't even know that there are exist yet. And this is why for me, like learning how to authenticate a user, or learning how to store a password, or learning how to do this, or learning how to do that, it's boilerplate. I don't really care about code like that. What I care about, and I'm not saying I as Avi, I'm saying I engineer, I care about my application logic, my business logic, my business transactions. Whether I register a user with SHA-256 or Bcrypt or whatever, unless it defined as matter, it doesn't matter. And yeah, I see someone on Twitch saying boilerplate, so that's exactly the word I use. There is a reason it's called boilerplate. And there is a reason that most of the time when you write boilerplate code, you either use something ready or you have a snippet. You know, it's like I watched the stream. I think we all watched the stream today, and you know, a lot of people. And now I'm gonna remember to switch to the code, right? So a lot of people will, you know, write something like, let's say, something like I don't know, something test.go, right? And they'll have this go test class, right? So and then they will type, okay, so func, I'm gonna test suite for something, right, or whatever, and then they will write this code and they will write it again and again and again. But for me, I have just go test class, so go test class, and then I have this. So now package is I don't know, something, and then test is test something, and this is automatically doing something, and then this test something is valid, right? And I'm done now. I'm in business logic. So this is my business logic here. So the shorter the time between boilerplate and business logic, that's profit. That's the definition of profit. All right, so I'm trying to create a website for speed running, and I don't know what speed running is, and making it authentic is kind of a big deal. Should I just drop my current project and use that starter kit? So I don't know where your current project is, so I don't, you know, feel comfortable giving that advice. But if you just, you know, from your question, it sounds like you just started, then I would definitely scrap that and use a project like that. So, I mean, you don't have to if you've never done it before. It would be good learning experience to do it yourself. It's pretty early on, maybe 3 weeks in. So, yeah, definitely. So, here's the deal. I can take this project here, and I can get it running in 5 minutes flat, and I already have authorization, I already have authentication, and I already have everything I need. So I have the ability to send emails, I have a session, I have Google Analytics, everything I have, right? Everything. So why would I even worry about anything else? And I actually think I actually think I even committed code to this project, if I remember correctly. But oh, there it is. So you see, this is this is so funny. So as you can see, this is like change authentication method. So not only have I used this project, I also contributed code to it. I knew I did something with this project. I didn't remember what. But now it's funny to remember that I actually contributed code to it. So yeah, I would definitely, you know, start with that project, and see where you go, because you can, you know, this project is highly. One thing I don't like about this project is that the syntax, as far as I can remember, is ECMAScript 5 syntax and not. So let's see. So yeah, definitely. So Stripe event. I want to look at the controllers. One of the controllers. So controller, users controller. Yeah. So this is hell for me. I would definitely refactor that into async await, and use ES6 JavaScript. But you know, this is nitpicking. I think for what you want, this is more than enough, and it's a great start. And the faster you can get to validating your idea rather than validating how you register users, it's better. All right. I hope that helped. Again, just to remind people, over here on the top, there is some stream info to where to find the chat, where to find the YouTube channel, and so on and so forth. So you can definitely use that. And yeah, thank you for jumping in. So Matt, I hope that helped. So one thing though, which database are you using in your project, and it's okay to say I have no idea. So what database are you using in your project? MySQL. Yeah, so this is the problem with this project. It's using MongoDB. And that's the problem. Well, yeah, so if you're distantly familiar with MongoDB, then you can definitely use MongoDB. Um, I have a lot of experience with MongoDB. So it's, for this kind of project, it's a good database. If you ever achieve the scale that MongoDB will become a problem, then let me know. All right, so I hope that that helped. And other people in the chat room, again, the point of the stream today, more than really anything, is to answer questions and kind of interact more with you. If you have any questions, then let me know. All right. So just 1 second. So I'm gonna have to stop the stream here for 1 minute, and I'm coming back in 1 minute. Don't go anywhere. All right. So I am back on the stream, and I am sorry for that. Okay, so someone on Twitch is saying, I just came since I've seen your link to the stream on Keep's Discord. So Keep, just so people know, Keep is this dude. Where is it? We keeps it real. And he's a really cool dude, learning to program, learning to code, so to speak. All right, so and we kind of, I kind of try to help him with his journey. So just so we kind of have a common language here. He's a cool dude. He's well on his path to be a programmer. All right. So unless we have questions, then I'll go back to kind of what I've done yesterday. Cool. So yesterday, what I've done is, okay, so another question here on Twitch. Acidic Mushroom is, howdy. Which headphones are those, and would you recommend them? So those are Bose wireless, and they are good. I wouldn't say more than that. They're good. Their sound quality is decent. Battery is great. I mean, in terms of battery, I definitely did not expect the battery to last that long. And so it really depends on whether you think it's reasonable to spend this ridiculous amount of money on headphones. So those are not the noise canceling ones. I actually don't like the noise cancellation on Bose. I mean, the way does noise cancellation is basically to add noise, just a different noise. So I just don't like it. I like they have a noise canceling wireless ones. So Amazon, what is that called? Let's see. I think it's SoundLink. So Bose SoundLink. SoundLink. I feel, yeah. So there it is. SoundLink, around ear, headphones, and they have those in noise cancellation, and they basically cost $100 more. So these cost, which are those, $229, and the noise canceling ones are basically $329. 200 or 299. So comfort, acoustic, noise canceling, these ones. So for me, it's not worth it. Um, I don't. I don't like the noise cancellation on Bose. I don't like any noise cancellation at all. Um, so yeah. Oh, and again, I forgot to switch the screens. Damn it! I'm so stupid. So these are the noise cancellation ones. And these are the sound links, which is the one I have. And those are very good. Well, good. So yeah. What happened? Oh yeah, you should probably change your stream's title too. So what should I change my stream title to? Twitch fade. What do you want my stream title to say? Let's go change our stream title. Oh, it's, yeah. All right, so let's edit this. Should I say like teaching all right. Done. I changed it to teaching the people in the chat. I think it's the truth. All right. So these are the Bose sound links, and they are good. I mean, I don't know if I would spend $200 again. So given that I have them now, I don't know if I would spend $229 on them. But you know, who knows? Who knows? All right. So Rodsky on Live EDU is saying, let's go back to Python. So what do you want to know with Python? Do you have a specific thing you want to do with Python? What do you want to know with Python? All right, so Koresh X just followed on Twitch. Much love. Thank you for that. Right. So, Rodsky, what do you want to know with Python? Let me know. Okay. So yesterday, going back to what I've done yesterday, if we go back to the project, let me just open up the link of what I've done. So I went through this, the University of Helsinki course. And one of the exercises is like a suitcase and container, and so on and so forth. And what I've done is I basically Express. All right, so just 1 second. Someone on Twitch. So you're saying, so I opened a new file. So I open a new file and install the stuff, and it says I'm missing Express, even though I already ran npm install and should get all dependencies. All right, so let's try that together. Are you game? Let's try that together. All right, so let's go to the Node membership software as a service hackathon. Where is it? Let's go here, GitHub.com and Node Stripe membership. All right, so let's go here and clone this. So let's go. So Rodsky, I'm going to be with you, and we're going to do Python right after that. So cd open source. Oh, not the Stripe one, the other one? Hackathon starter? Oh, this is, okay. Let's go there. Clone. All right, so this one, and then git clone this. All right, and hackathon starter. What do we have here? So first, let's split the screen here. So we'll open up Vim here, and what do we have? So we have a yarn.lock, so we don't need to use npm install -g yarn. All right. So, all right, so then yarn. No. So this is going to install a few dependencies with yarn. And I don't believe I have MongoDB installed, but we're going to take care of that. So let's go and take care of that first. So now yarn is installed, and let's go run Docker with MongoDB, because I don't want to install Docker on my machine. All right, so let's see what we have here. So Docker run Mongo. Okay. So before we go here, let's see what we have here in the README. So installation. We have installation. Installation npm install, yarn install, and then node app.js. So let's go here, node app.js. All right, so what do we have here? We have localhost 27017 on first connect. Okay, so now let's go and see where is localhost defined. And I see an env example, so MongoDB URI, that's where it's kind of looking. So let's look at MongoDB URI. And MongoDB URI is here, and app.js. All right, so it's basically trying, if it's not exposed, then, oh, it actually already has the Docker here. All right, so we can actually work with that. Image Mongo 3.4, so we can actually work with that. So let's see, Docker compose install. I don't think I have Docker compose install. Let's see, Docker compose up. Okay, so this is Docker compose. Oh, it's crazy how big MongoDB is on Docker. So Rodsky, I'm going to be with you in a second. Let's try to solve this first. All right, so this is downloading. All of this is just like fancy terminal, you know, progress bars. It's doing nothing. It's basically just downloading files. Okay, so this. What now? So now let's see, Docker PS. So something is running. And incorrect dependency. Okay, so this is still building. And this is now installing, and this is done. All right, now this is exposing. Awesome. So now the application is running, and we have two things. One is MongoDB, and one is the application. And if we go to 0003000, we should see the app, and we do. All right, so let's see. We have GitHub, contact, login, when we have create account. So let's do avi@avi.io. Password is 1q2w3e4r. I will obviously never use this password in real life. Unlock. All right. Never. And then this. So I'm already signed in, and I can have my account, avi.io. Let's see if I can change my name to my name and update the profile. So update profile works as well, and the project works. So that's working. I mean, I had zero problems running it. It's likely that you don't have other Mongo installer, you didn't use Yarn or something like that. So what I did, just if you had a hard time following, is I did Yarn, which installed the dependencies, and then Node and something. So let's see what I've done. So not this one, Node app.js. So that's it. Okay, so that's running for us. Now let's go to Roadski on LiveEDU. So Roadski is saying, let's back in Python. As I told you about my scraper, I want to build a recommendation system for a website. It's okay, take your time. But by the way, how did you customize your shell? I've tried Powerline with Manjaro, and I break the system. So first of all, I'm using a Mac. I'm not using Windows, so I don't know what, if you're using a Mac or if you're using Linux or whatever. So what I have in terms of customization, and let me go back to my terminal. And this is what I have. So these are my dot files, GitHub com kenso-dev dot files. And in here, in the dot files, can do 19. Yo, how are you, man? Or girl, or woman. So as you can see, I have all of my shell customization here, which kind of customize everything that I want. I use iTerm2, which is a terminal Mac OS replacement. And I use Tmux, which is also available on Linux. And basically Tmux is a multiplexer, so then I can use Tmux and type it here on the left side, and the right side I use Vim. So I use terminal Vim as my main editor. I don't use any sort of IDE. I use Vim. And my dot files for Vim are here. So .vim. So let me just paste all those links here and here. And dot files as well, here and here. Okay? So I hope that helped. And Matt, let me know if you have any more questions, because as you can see, I ran the project and it runs pretty great. And this is what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm talking about for, application code, because right now the project is at, it's not running. So let me just run it again. So Docker compose up, and now it will run much faster. So 0.0003000. And now, I can focus on my application. I know I have my account, which I can update and I say I'm male, I'm female, I have a location, I have a website, I have a gravatar. All of this is implementation details. And all of this takes time. So, in terms of what's important to you, these are all things that are not important to me, but I have to get them, right? I need an account. I need an update. I need a username. I need a password. I need all of this, but it's not my main concern. So LiveEDU question, Shandu 19, is this session 1? So technically it's session 2. And really, really technically, it's like session 30 something. but it's totally disconnected today because what I'm doing today is I am dedicating this time to answer questions and help the viewers. So if you have a question, whether it's specific to your project or specific to one of my open source project or anything really, career path, engineering, or whatever you want, feel free to ask. So you don't really need to know what happened in the previous sessions, although I would love it if you do. And all the details are again here on the top. But again, this is for you. So if you have any questions, then let me know. So now Twitch, XMAT Gaming. So acidic mushrooms. When you do web design, do you use a CSS framework? The answer is yes, 100% of the time. Depends on what is the web design and what kind of CSS framework do I want to use. And what I usually default to, for example, I don't know if you guys saw that, but Fullstack Network, which is the other streaming, sessions that we do. So Fullstack Network here is the blog. Let me paste that link as well. And Fullstack Network, where is it? I think we need to go back to like session. Wow. Okay, so this like. So programming here and the Creative Network. So the Creative Network is one of the websites that that we're building and streaming as well. And here I use Bootstrap, which is basically my default for almost everything. But yeah, I mean, and again, it comes back to what do you need to worry about, right? Do I need to worry about all the zeroing? Do I need to worry about IEA? Do I need to worry about all of those stuff? Or should I care about my application design, my application logic? So yeah, definitely use the CSS framework. Next question on Twitch, and I'm getting to the question on live EDU as well. XMAT Gaming. So if you don't want, okay, so what if I don't want users logging in through all of social media stuff? I just need one login system through just the website. So what we can check is here in app.js. So do they have any sort of configuration? And they probably do. So let's go to the README and check configuration. So select web application and click on configure consent screen. This is not the one. This is not the one. So login. Okay, so let's see how we can first log in here. So let's log out and see create account. So for create account right now, as you can see, all I have is just email. I don't have the rest. So these are all things that you can just remove from your, oh, damn it. I'm sorry, I forgot to switch my screen again. So as you can see here in create account, all I have is username and password. And you just need to remove that API example and remove that endpoint, and then you don't have all of these. So basically, it's really easy. Now on live EDU, someone is asking, did you try Kotlin or Golang? So I think I tried Golang once in my life. Right, so Kenso Dev Gong. So Gong is one of my latest project in Golang. And it's a CLI for Jira and issue tracker and Git. And this project is 100% open source and 100% streamed. So everything, all the work I've done on this project from the beginning to the end has been live streamed. So you can go check it out on YouTube. So let's go here. All right. So if we go back here to the videos, then you can see all of the Gong. They're titled like GitHub and Jira integration. And it's like TDD with Golang, working on the project. Let's watch it together. All right. And the good thing about this type of streaming, really differently from what I'm doing now, is this is pair programming. So what I've done is I pair programmed with a junior engineer. So the level of questions and the level of interactions between myself and the junior engineer, Stevens, that I've been working with, really made this stream special, because when you work with someone more junior than you need to focus on the simpler stuff, and you need to focus on their question and their pace. So I think it made the entire kind of stream way more friendly to beginners. So definitely check that out. I link that in the show notes. All right. So now the question on Twitch is also, how did you fix a problem in your app? JS failed to connect to server localhost 27017 on first connect. Is that, yeah, that's the Mongo issue. That basically means that you don't have MongoDB running on 27017. And the way I fixed it was to run it with Docker, and they have a nice Docker compose. Let me go back to the code before I forget. And let's look at Docker compose here. And they have a nice Docker compose that sets the environment to MongoDB URI, which is MongoDB MongoDB 2017-017. And MongoDB is here. So sorry, this is Mongo. Let me go back. So Mongo 27017, and the links is Mongo. So basically, Mongo, when you go from here, is a link to the Docker container, container running Mongo, right? So that's really was really simple to solve, yeah. So you don't really have to use Docker. Just make sure that you have MongoDB running on localhost. That's really the only thing that you need. All the rest is bullshit. Yeah, so just do service MongoDB start or something like that. All right, so let's go to live edu here. Roadski, do I need some machine learning? What do you think of the recommendation system? So, so here's the deal. I don't know if you know that about me or not, but I basically for the past 6 years, I have worked for this company up until basically March. I worked for Trip.com, and Trip.com is a travel company, and every kind of the recommendation system that you see here in terms of like these and the scoring system for the users. So as you can see, every user has a score and every place has a score, and the score is kind of relevant to you and so on and so forth. I built all of this from the beginning to the end, and as far as I know, it's still running my code. And the thing is, it's really tempting. And I'll go back to the question so people know what I'm answering. So I'll go back to the question of, the recommendation system, whether you need machine learning or not. So if you need to build a full, robust, like huge recommendation system, then yeah, you need a machine learning. But for a lot of things, you don't. For a lot of things, you need special, simple algorithms that and you can think of. So like think of every time the user recommends, you add 10 times the rating. So if the user rated 5, you add 50 points. If the user added 1, you add 10 points, and you decay the points over time. So as the time goes by, after a month, a 50 points becomes a 40 point, and a 10 points becomes 0 points. So, this is like a good enough recommendation systems for any website. Just these 3 rules. So you don't really need to go through a lot of complex things like machine learning and so on and so forth. This is what, when people think in that way, this is how people just end up not shipping. This is how people just end up thinking and thinking and thinking and not ever shipping. So Shandu19 and Sanji is sending something on Vim. So definitely I use Vim a lot. I use Vim. I use Vim exclusively for code for the last, 7 years or so. I played around with NeoVim for like 20 days or so. I did a project using Laravel, but it was hard to code in NeoVim. I switched to Atom back. Do you use autocomplete in Vim? So first, if you go back to my coding, and I see a question on Twitch, and I will answer that question in a second. So I don't use any autocomplete in Vim at all. So let's go back to some code here on the right side. So let's go to, app.js. So when I write, so const something equals something else, there is no autocomplete at all. I write much faster. I think much faster when there is no autocomplete. If I want autocomplete, then I specifically can access it using like a shortcut. But I only do that when I know what I want and I just don't want to write it. And yeah. So the question on Twitch is a funny question, but fair. Are you sitting on one of those posture bowls things? You seem mobile. So, yeah, I do. I sit on one of these posture bowl things. And I am mobile, and that's the whole point. So this helps me think. I know it sounds weird, but this helps me think. Being kind of mobile and having, not slouching and just leaning into the chair or whatever, helps me think. So I always opt in to less support. I mean, when I want to rest, I sit on this chair. You see this? So that one. And this is my resting chair. So, yeah. Yeah, so again, fair comment. I'm basically a human fidget spinner. And as you can see, like here, I'm a human fidget spinner with a lot of other things. All right, so now another question on live edu. And let's go back to that. So I played around with NeoVim, autocomplete. I answered that question. Recommendation system, cool. I tried it once too. Worked pretty well. For Rexis, you tried TensorFlow. So no, this recommendation system is not using machine learning. It's using not pre, but home-baked algorithms that were written by me and defined by product. They don't have any machine learning in terms of TensorFlow or anything like that. It was definitely in plan for a long time, but we never got around to it. And I don't work for that company anymore, so who knows what's gonna happen now. All right, so great. Okay, so now another question. First of all, someone followed. Let's give it some love. What Tiny Pinch is now following. Let's give him some love in the chat. So live edu here. So Rodsky has a question. I think I didn't express my idea very well. As I told you, I have to scrape some information from the website. Then I have to analyze them. Then I have to build website like a search engine or something like, and then users look for an item to buy. The system should return the best item based on the best performance and lowest price. So that's not a recommendation system. That's just returning on simple rules. And there is a lot of things that. Okay, so let me take a step back here for a second, and let me kind of explain how I would approach that problem. I'm watching the streams I'm watching the chats on both channels, so I will get to all of the questions. Don't worry, and stay tuned for the questions. I'm here for that. So, by the way, Sanjay, Rodsky is already using Beautiful Soup. I actually refactored some of his code. Okay. So here's the deal. What you want to achieve is not that complicated. All right. I don't want to downplay it, and I don't want to, make it sound as if I'm, condescending or something like that. But if you take down what you want to do and you just tear it down to consumable pieces and say, okay, so now I need to scrape, and you scrape it and you put it in the database, right? You normalize the data and you put it in the database, and now you have one service that takes the data and puts it in the database. Now, once you have that data in the database, you can manipulate it any way that you want. You can say when the user searches for something, then you search and on the database and you return something based on simple rules, right? So again, I'm not sure what exactly is your question. I'm trying to kind of think. So Matt Gaming is saying Mongo doesn't start on Windows. Dude, I haven't used Windows in a very long time. Actually, I think I told the story on the stream. When I quit my previous workplace, I had to return the Mac that I had, and obviously, the new workplace, I have a Mac as well, but I wanted to Mongo EXE. I don't even know what Mongo EXE is, but I didn't want to, just take the laptop home with me every day, and obviously I stream and I do a lot of open source, so I wanted a computer for home. And I thought about, taking a computer and like installing Windows and Linux and stuff like that, and I just couldn't do it. So I ended up getting a new Mac. And yeah, it's like stuff like that with Windows just like drive me crazy. It's like just the computer needs to get out of your way, not be in your way. All right, live edu. Someone is saying, I took a data mining course in my graduation. A topic called market basket analysis is so similar to recommend system. So, if you go to Amazon and you buy one thing, you just buy a pack of gum, then they will automatically recommend you packs of gum. They will recommend you, what other people bought when they bought a pack of gum. It's definitely a recommendation system, but I imagine there is no machine learning to it at all. It's basically just simple analysis and saying, if let's take the last like 10,000 pieces of that gum that people bought, and what did they share in the cart, in the shopping cart. So when you add that to the shopping cart, then we will automatically tell you what other people have added to the shopping cart with that piece of gum. So yeah, definitely yeah, if you have a simpler example, then sure, go. All right, so you're dealing with Windows issues, and Empress Leaf, I was curious if you were fidgety. Okay, so that one I answered as well. All right, so good questions. And please feel free to ask questions and and get help. Anything is quote unquote legal. So if you want to, if you want to code review your GitHub, um, or if you want to fix a bug together or work on some open source together, then everything is game. I'm good with anything. All right, so let's close that out because this is working, so I don't need to work on that anymore. All right, so this one is done. Here. So I don't need this. Okay. So let me know if you have any other questions. People in the chat room. I know it's late. It's late for me as well, obviously. Right. Cool. So if no more questions, what I'm gonna go back is to the Python stuff. And let's go back to the course. Where is the course? That's a good question. Where is the course? I'm sorry. No, don't wait till the end of the stream. Do it now. Don't be shy. No question is too simple, or no question is stupid. Trust me. All right. So, okay. So Sanjay is on Live EDU. Is asking what course. So what I've done yesterday on the stream, and you can actually watch that video somewhere. I don't remember where it was. I'll link to it in a second. I think it's this one. So if you go to this channel, then what you'll get to is this video. And this video is something I've done yesterday. And what I took is this computer science course by the University of Helsinki. And I took just like exercises, but the exercises are for Java. And I took them and I wrote them in Python. Well, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a software engineer. I just record on YouTube. And so what I've done is I took this course from like the University of Helsinki, but I did two things differently. One is I didn't do it with Java. I did it with Python. And the second, I didn't just write the code. I wrote tests, and then I solved the tests. So as you can see, for example, here, I have, where is this? The thing. So I have a thing.py, which has like a weight and a name and a weight and a toString, and then I have a test thing, which tests the thing. And I have the suitcase.py, and I have the test suitcase.py. And I basically went through this this course, and instead of again doing it with Java and doing it like ad hoc like this, I did with Python, and I explained like bit by bit what I'm doing, and I've done it using test-driven development. So now, if I go Python unit test discover, you see 12 tests, and they run in like 1 millisecond or whatever, because it's not involving any like database or something like that. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. It was a pretty nice experience to do that, because one thing, a lot of people, they get caught, or so to speak, on the syntax. And I think just by doing it with a different language, gave a different, texture, so to speak, to it. And by doing TDD, then what I was able to do is I was able to take it and consume it in little pieces. So that was great. And I think that stream went really well, and it's linked in the chat. So again, feel free to go there and check it out. All right. So any more questions? Just as a reminder, the stream info is here. Everything you need to know about the stream. How do you, subscribe, follow, and please do follow on Live EDU and on Twitch. Following really helps, with you getting the latest and greatest, and you know when the stream is live, and so on. So please follow and subscribe, and let me know if I can help with anything. Okay, so Live EDU has a question and Twitch has a question. So let's see what we have here. Oh, someone is following. Who is that? Who is that? I don't see that. It's like white on white. Shit. I'll get an email in a second, and then I'll acknowledge that person. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see who that is. I think it's you, Empress Leaf. Yes, it's you. I think it's you. It's a little frog or something. All right. So the question on Live EDU from Roadski. Avi, my project, the website I'm trying to scrape, is like eBay. So people put their items to sell with different prices. Sometimes the price is more than it's worth. So what if I can make the choice instead of the user? Do you use data warehouse? So I don't know if the question is to me or the question is to Roadski. So first of all, Empress Leaf on Twitch, thank you for the follow, and I hope you enjoy the content. So, and Shandu19, I don't know if the question about the data warehouse was for me or for Roadski. So, dude, what you're trying to solve is that specific part is difficult. It's like understanding programmatically whether a place is closed or is it open. There is a lot of signals that you would want, right? One of the signals is like search, automatically search Google and check whether you can find an item for a lower price. The second would be to use some kind of outsourcing. So, you every hour you export a list, and you have people that will go over that list and will input prices. And you can do all of that through APIs. So everything I tell you, there's APIs that people do it. And okay, so it's, and again, this is what I'm trying to say every single time to almost every single person I work with, and definitely to junior engineers. Take it step by step. Some of the things you think about now, you have no business thinking about. No business, because you haven't validated your business idea yet. You need to go and you need to implement as the least amount of features possible. Validate your idea. Let users hammer it. Let yourself fail fast, and don't try to implement everything. So for that part, users are putting things with like different prices. We need to think about, do I need to worry about it? Is the percentage of people that do that high enough for my data to not be valuable anymore? This is what you need to think, and this is the way you need to think. You don't need to think about every little thing you want to build. You need to think about every little thing you need to build, if that makes sense. So Shandu19, Kenso Dev, do you use data warehouse? The answer is yes, I use a data warehouse. Or actually the more accurate answer would be that right now I don't use a data warehouse, but I have used a data warehouse in the past being, last like 6 months. What do you have a question about data warehousing, solutions or stuff like that? Feel free to ask those. Let me know if you have a follow-up question on that. So, Sanjay, Kenso Dev, what's your thought on Cytone? So I haven't done Sidon at all. And yeah, so I don't have an opinion. I'm sorry. Um, I don't have an opinion. What I will tell you is that for a lot of things that need that level of, I don't know what like Python is trying to solve, but maybe it's like a faster Python. I just use Go, um, and it's basically like that. My Python is for things that are web. So I basically use Python for not Django, but the other one. I never remember the name. Never remember the name. And for things that um, for things that I need, like CLIs or something that needs to be really, really fast, or cron or whatever, I just use Go. And because I know Go, I never really took the time to even look into Python. So Rodsky, okay, let's now start listening and watching you do some Python to learn something. So first of all, thank you, and I appreciate you saying you learned something from me. But I'm really more focused today on questions in the chat room. So unless you have something interesting to do with Python, that we can do, like in 30 minutes or 20 minutes, then I think today the questions from the viewers are more important. So basically, I'm going to rewrite Sanjay saying on live edu. So basically, I'm going to rewrite create CPU intensive Python application using Python. Does that sound cool? Yeah, that sounds cool. That definitely sounds cool. I would even argue that doing that on the GPU sounds cooler. But sure, it sounds really good. Dude, Chandu, just ask now, man. Stop saying like at the end. The end will never come. Just ask now. People are so like shy sometimes. Just ask now. This is the time. All right. So going back to the kind of stream here, this is what I've wait airport. What's airport? Okay, Sanjay. So Tristan34 on Twitch is saying your time is now, and I cannot agree more. There is no time like now. I will just grab some water from my huge mug. Sorry about that. I just talked a lot today, so it's getting thirsty. It's I'm beginning to be thirsty here. All right, so live edu. I just don't want to interrupt you. And again, the point of the stream today is to answer questions and help people exactly like you through their problems and through their things. So there is no the end of the stream because people will always ask question, and what will happen is that people will ask question and then you will end up not asking your question. So if you end up not asking your question, again, I go back to here, and we have Discord, and right now I'm the only one on Discord. So what we have is I opened this chat room here, and the chat room is the best thing about the chat room here on Discord is that I can use it even when I'm not streaming. So first, let me go back to here just a sec. Tristan34, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you for that a lot. All right, so I open up Discord. So please, it's up here and it's free, and use it. And the best thing about it is that I read it and I'm online even when I'm not streaming. So please feel free to do that. So Discord, the link is there. Go there and just join in to Fullstack Network. And let me know if you have any questions. Okay. So someone asked a question I feel like I missed. Okay, Sanjay, you do membership programs. I don't really know what you mean for membership programs. If you can explain yourself, Sanjay, um, because I really don't know what you mean. Okay, so does anybody have something like interesting that you wanted to work on, or a sorry, or a problem that you had trouble solving? I would love to help. I think I think the format today with this stream being more interactive, I feel it's working. It's working out really well. So people. Okay, what's going on? Okay, so Shandu, did you mentor in GSOC? What the fuck is GSOC? GSOC. What's GSOC? Google Summer of Code. No, I never mentored in Google Summer of Code. No. I am. So I taught a lot of courses on multiple subjects. I've never done Google of Code, and yeah, so the answer is no. I never done that. And Sanjay, again, what do you mean about membership program? I don't really get it. Okay. So Google Summer of Code, the answer is no. What else? What else? Sanjay is saying something. Okay, people on Twitch, feel free to also ask questions. I see we have, I don't know how many, like 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, I think, on Twitch. Feel free to ask questions. So Rodsky on live edu, why not rebuilding my web scraper again if you have time? So do you have the latest version of the code? Let me know where the latest version, and we can try and fix it. Doing it the right way. It's like mentoring. So I do a lot of mentoring. And this is, my passion. And here's the deal. I'll be completely honest. I'm a senior engineer at a company in the Bay Area. I do I work in software professionally every single day. I don't have to stream at 10 p.m. I have 3 kids. I don't have to stream at 10 p.m. My passion is to teach people and to share some of my knowledge. I am a true believer, and every time I say that, it sounds so idealistic that sometimes it's painful, but if I could open source my brain, I would. And I'm a true believer in open source, and my passion is to share my knowledge. So I do a lot of mentoring, and a lot of the content on the stream here is me mentoring another engineer, and I love answering those questions. This is why I open up Discord as well, so we can communicate and work together in a way that will help you be better. I hope that helps. I hope I have the vocabulary to explain what I want. Okay, so someone is asking a question on Twitch. Jarm. Jarment, I guess. How do I create an API for a website? Scratch that. What do you think are the chances of me getting a job? I'm self taught and only have a high school diploma. Do you have any good finished project to show? Okay. So, first of all, Jarm, here's the deal. So, you have a high school diploma. You already have more education than I have. I don't. I mean, I finished high school, but I don't have a high school diploma. Um, I never went to college, and I never studied computer science professionally, but I have taught computer science in the university. So for me, the thing is really not education. The thing is passion, and the thing is thirst, and you know, unsatiated, I guess, is the word, passion to learn, and hunger to learn, and if you learn something new every day, and if you do something new every day, and if you don't sit there in the comfort zone, and just like hammer away or say, hey, I'm making, $150,000 a year at Google, or 250,000 years at Facebook. I don't really need to learn something new, and I don't really need to make myself better. This is how you decay, and this is how at age 40 you become irrelevant. But for me, it's like the passion to learn, right? Just the passion to be better every single day. So in terms of like you, what is the chance of you getting a job? The chances are extremely high. It's up to you, right? And okay, so Goddess RL, do you have any good finished project to show? Asking to Jarm, and Jarm is answering, not really, but I do have a GitHub, a few things. I feel like every company I work for just throws away my resume as soon as they see that I don't have a college experience. So, and again, another honest moment. And people on live video, I will get to your questions in a second. Please don't think I'm ignoring. I'm just like trying to answer as many people as possible. So it's for you. It's hard because what you need is the opportunity. And with the opportunity, I think a lot of people, including you, by the way, and I'm like pointing a finger at you now, are focusing on what they don't have. I don't have a college experience. Fuck that. What do you have? So college experience, you don't. That's fine. You don't. What do you have? Right? I don't have college experience. Dude, I don't. And I don't even write my education on a CV. But let me tell you even something else. I never had a CV. So literally the last time that I wrote a CV in intention to give it to someone was like 7 to 10 years ago. Your experience and your passion needs to speak higher volume than your education. If your education dictates and you don't have an education, then you will fail. But if you don't have an education and you have experience and you have passion to learn, or you don't have experience but you have passion to learn, this will trump. It will trump, right? So, and I'm sorry for using that word, but I guess I guess that's the right word here. So I hope that answered your question, and feel free to ask following. It's like mentoring. Oh, nice. You have 3 kids. Yes, I have 3 kids. So do you blog? Shandu19. And the answer to that is, of course. So let's go here. So one blog is avi.io here. So this is one blog. And another is this one. What? I can't type today, so this one, and then this one. and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. Okay. So these are my blogs, and yes, I blog, and this is my GitHub here. Okay, so now let me go back to the question on live edu. So Shandu, how do you learn things, books? So no, I don't. I don't read books at all, unfortunately. I would want to read more fiction. I think in our field of engineering and programming, once the book is out, it's already obsolete. And so I just learn by doing, and this is a key to everything I say all the time is I tear things down to consumable parts, and then I learn about the smallest consumable part, right? So let's say I have to build a recommendation system. I won't read books about recommendation systems. I will do the first thing I need to a recommendation system. Let's say I need to classify my items. So I will learn how to classify my items, and only that. I won't even focus about the rest of my job, right? I think this is the key. Effective mentoring, I believe, is say like supporting, contributing to open source application software at a big company like Google, Amazon, and approaching that. So again, I'm doing that on a personal level. So literally, people that reach out to me and ask for my help always get my help. I don't do that professionally in a way that I don't get paid for that. And I don't do that in a company. I do that in the company I work for. So if you work with me, then you get that basically for free. But no, I don't do that. Like I don't go to companies and say that, hey, let me help you or let me mentor your programmers, because you need to sell yourself to do that, and I don't want to do that. Right. So Twitch chat is pretty active, and I haven't been paying attention for it for 3 minutes or so. Studying algorithm and data structures. How good are you at math? How much math do you utilize every day? Which concept of math? Right now, I'm studying anything specific. I always working on a different project. I suck at math. Dude, I failed. We have basically math levels from 1 to 5, and I failed the level 3 in high school. So you think you suck at math? Trust me, you think you suck at math. You just haven't got the right problem. All right. So live edu. Roadski, let's build it from scratch using your own style. So what do you want to build? You want to build that scraper? What exactly do you want to build? Excuse me. Another sip of water, sorry. So Twitch has a huge recommendation now, and I want to focus on that for a minute. Goddess RL is saying it's really good option to get real work experience in a short amount of time. It's also very fun. People meet up and compete against each other. Definitely looking to go as many of you as you can. So here is the deal. If you how will I explain it? How will I articulate it? So when you submit your CV, there is nothing to distinct you from other people. If you go to a meetup and you and every meetup has that. Every meetup in every area in the world has that. Whenever you go to a meetup, people will have like this whiteboard and they say, hey, I'm looking for people, I'm looking for people, I'm looking for people. And every company is always looking for people. And I'll tell you that they will always prefer someone hungry than someone with experience. Always, always, always. Especially when hiring junior engineers. Because for junior engineers, to me, and I've hired a lot of them, for junior engineers, it doesn't matter if you have 3 months experience or if you have a year of experience. It doesn't matter. It means bullshit. It's nothing. It's like a drop in the bucket of experience that you have. The first years of experience are nothing. Everything you learn is obsolete. Everything. So every one of those meetups will have one of these whiteboards, and people will say, hey, I'm looking for employees and I'm looking for employees. Go to them, give them a card, right? Give them a card and let them know that you're looking for work and that you're willing to do, the simpler stuff, and you would love to learn, and each and every one of them that you will go to will have you come for an interview. Each and every one, I can guarantee that. As long as you can honestly say that you want that, as long as you can honestly, convey that you want that, you will get that interview. And for the first, so just do that. You don't need coding friends, like you mentioned here. You just go to a meetup, meetup.com. Where do you live, Jarm? Where do you live? I don't mean your address, just the city. Maryland. Maryland. Wow, man, it's like late for you, isn't it? All right. Where is it? Tech. Within 10 miles from Maryland. Maryland? What? Wait. Laurel, Maryland. Where the fuck is that? Okay, so you see, AWS meetup. What is it? Checkpoint. Don't go to Checkpoint. And oh shit, I forgot to switch the stream again. My God. It's like, how do I do that professionally? I don't do that. Okay, so 10 miles from Maryland, and you know what? Let's say you're ready to drive 25 miles. So there's the DC Tech Meetup, Women Code, Cybersecurity. Go to each and every one of these, right? Just take a month, go to every one of these. Yeah, so go there. So live EDU now. City question. Don't go to Checkpoint. Yeah, I know. Okay, so streaming on YouTube as well is awesome. So I do stream on YouTube as well, and I do stream on Twitch as well. I stream on all of those 3 channels together. I am working on competitive programming, algorithm design, and data structure. Anyone interested to join me? Where is that competitive algorithm? What is that? My God, it sounds like way out of my league. Way out of my league. All right, so Twitch TV, cancel dev, and so I stream here and also here, not here. Sorry, here. I feel no. My God. Yep, here. Sorry, this is the right link. So you can also watch on YouTube, but I don't watch the YouTube chat. So don't use the chat on YouTube because I'm not here. So Twitch. So acidic mushrooms is sticking it to me on Twitch for my comment on Checkpoint because I said don't go to Checkpoint. Fair sticking it to me here. But what I don't have anything against them. I just think that when you want to learn and when you want to go to as broad audience as possible, this is what I would go to. I would go to DC Tech Meetup. I would go to what else? I would go to not cybersecurity. I would go to DC Python. I would go to DevOps DC. I wouldn't go to WordPress. Serverless DC definitely. Shit, I forgot to. My God, I forgot to do it again. Shit. Okay, so DC Tech Meetup. I would go there, and I would go to DC Python, DevOps DC, serverless, and this is my YouTube channel, Irrelevant. So, codechef.com, Dan Liu on LiveEDU. Let's see what's that. So on LiveEDU, we got this link. So let's see what this link is about. Codechef.com. There is a contest. Dude, these contests are way out of my league. I never do that. And I never, the thing is, I can never like get myself to thinking about the problem in an academic way. I mean, if you let me work on a project that will implement some of these things, I will probably do it easily. But I was like, let's see, persistent made simple. Oh no. So where is the competition that you're going to? So Jarm on Twitch. I really hope that I answered your question, and more than anything that you have hope and belief that you can do it, because you definitely can. And again, feel free to, there's the Discord chat. So and again, you can see the Discord chat is and it's gonna be more active as as we progress here. But join in, and then you can ask question when the stream is also offline. I'm always watching on Discord. I get notification on my phone as well. So definitely, feel free to join in there and let me know if you have any questions. And I really hope that that I answered your questions, and I gave you the hope that you can do it, because you definitely can. All right. Okay, so programming here. So Twitch. So Acidic Mushrooms asked, have you used okay, so we have another follow Pixel something, and I'm sorry, pixel.co. And thank you for the follow. Appreciate that a lot. So Acidic Mushroom is asking, what do you have against Checkpoint? I answered that. Have you used stubs and or mocks? How are they different? I have, and I have used that a lot. So let me go here to, okay, let me go here for a second, and let me go here. Okay, so this is how I use stubs and mock. This is not the academic explanation. And this is how I use it. So I use mock when I want to mock a specific class and mock its behavior. I use a stub when I just want an object to do something. Okay? So that's how I use stubs and mocks. And another follow on Twitch, oh, shit, this is too small. I'm sorry. I'll get the email in a second, and then I will acknowledge you. That's how I use it, and I've used it a lot. And you can actually see it in action. go solar proxy. So you can see it in action here. This is a proxy I've written for solar clusters. And there is a lot of tests here. So you can see that kind of in action. And there are mocks for like HTTP, so you can see what I'm using it for. Live edu now, a question. Let's see. How do you do design? How do you design your code? Do you use any software architecture? So how do you think OOP in your perspective? So before, so in my previous company, like I said, I switched jobs in March. I was a senior software architect. So basically, every architecture decision went through me. Obviously, in coordination with the CTO, and I do architecture every single day. And it's hard to explain how I think about it, but what I do is I try to think of it as how do I solve the problem. And it's it's to me OOP and it's like too broad of a question to really answer and articulate. But the answer is that you need to think about the problems, and you need to think about the problems that you're going to have. So for example, if it's a web, then how are people accessing it? And once you think about how people are accessing it, then this is a set of problems you can think about. And then you need to think about persistence. Where do I persist this data? And then once you think that, then you need to go through that. For example, we had a very long discussion at work a few days ago about a caching tier. Whether we're going to use memcached or whether we're going to use Redis and so on and so forth. So when you go through the solutions and you say, why not memcached and why not Redis? This is the wrong way of thinking about it. What you need to think about, what is the problem? What am I trying to solve? Am I trying to solve a high pace caching tier that is immutable? Go with memcached. Do you want to think about a high cache data access layer that has a backup to disk and the objects are immutable? Then go with Redis. You know what I mean? If you think about the advantages of one solution versus the other, that's not what you need. What you need is to go to the problem and then choose which solution is better for you. This is my way of kind of going through those architectures. I think the rest of your question is too broad, and if you want to tighten it down, then I will answer it. Right. So Twitch now, and let's go here. Someone asked, Adobe is Sketch for Mac the same as Adobe for Windows? So first, Adobe is also on Mac. 100% on Mac, and I actually use Adobe products, as you can see here. So this is Photoshop, and I also use Sketch. So Sketch is incredible for vectors. So if you want to design like an app, or if you want to design like a website, it's great for vectors. It's great for using icons. And again, I'm not a graphic designer by trade. So take my my answer here with a grain of salt, I guess. And Sketch is great for binary stuff, but Photoshop is more for different things, and then you have Lightroom and like, man, it's like a whole slew of solutions for problems. All right, so Rodsky, I think the problem that you think we can solve in the stream, I think it's a problem because I think it's too big. It's already like 10:40 here, almost 11 p.m. So I don't know what we're gonna be able to accomplish. Um, okay, so how do you learn this stuff without a book? By doing, you mean a project on it. If you learn something new, how do you do it? Like functional programming or new HTTP2. So first, the thing is this: I don't learn something for the sake of learning it. Um, sorry. Let me just type in some answers here. Another follow. Let me see. I can see that. So pixel.co. I feel you already did, but I see that. I see that again now. All right. So how do you learn this stuff without a book? And the answer is simple. I don't learn stuff to learn stuff. Let's say I have a passion for something and I want to learn HTTP2. Okay, so let's say I want to learn HTTP2 and now I need I think I need that in my tool chain. I think I need that in my toolbox. So what I would do is I would think about a project that has HTTP interface, and then I would write that project with HTTP2. So I would say, so now I want to have, let's say, an image manipulation service. And I would write this entire service with HTTP2. And let's say I want to learn Golang, then I would say, okay, so this is the next project I'm building is Golang. Whether it's good or not, whether it's bad, I don't care. The next project I build is Golang. And this is how I make progress. And I don't, for me right now, machine learning is something I want to do. But if I try to learn machine learning, what I know will happen is that I will not have the mental capacity to do it because I don't have a project to work on. When I have a project to work on, I will know machine learning. I can guarantee that 100%. But if I try to learn machine learning like now, disconnected from what I work on day to day, I will never be able to do it. Never, ever. I hope that helps. Sanjay, see you later. And again, jump on the Discord up here. And, then you can also chat with me and the other people, even when the stream is offline. It's free to join. So, just come by and... oh, I think you're actually already here. Yeah, thank you, man. And catch you later. And my pleasure for streaming. So Shandu, I hope that helps. And let me know. And for where is Twitch? So Twitch here. Where is that guy? Jarm Hart. One thing I wanted to, was in the back of my mind for like 20 minutes now since I answered your question. Is that, I don't know what the time in Maryland is now. I don't even know what the time in Maryland now. Let's see. So it's 2 a.m. My point is that not a lot of people want to learn enough to be awake at 2 a.m. Most people want success, but not a lot of people are willing to pay for that success. So just by you being awake at this time, 2 a.m. and working on some Python and watching, some idiot talk on a stream, is telling me that you have a passion for that. And if you can communicate that with, employers, then you will succeed. because a lot of people, they rather horse around, and they rather go to sleep, or they rather get drunk, right? And if you at 2 a.m., if you think about coding, and if you think about your career path, dude, you will succeed. It's like no matter what, you will succeed. You just need to focus, and you need to stop thinking why not, and you have to think about why yes, because a lot of employers, they will love someone like you working at 2 a.m. solving a problem. You know, um, definitely. Um, okay, so now on live edu, Shandu, well, I really want to learn Golang for contributing to Docker. Um, and so, well, I really want to learn Golang for contributing to Docker project, trying to fix some bug. How I need to start? So, what's the bug? Link to the bug that you want to fix. And I don't know if Docker is the right project for Golang to start with, but let me know. Okay, so someone asked the question on Discord, and I'll open it here. How do you check if a directory exists in Python? And I will do that exactly like I would do it in real life. Okay? So I will, I will do that like problem exactly as I would do it in real life. Okay? So here is how I do it in real life. And Jarm Hent, shit, man, I will never say your name like correctly. And this is how I would solve it in real life. I would say make dir dash p test dir here, right? So now I know I have test dir here. So now we'll open up Python here, and I know I have test dir, okay? And then what I would do is I would say, my God, I'm so stupid. Okay. So again, what I've done is make dir dash p test dir, and then open up Python, and then go to my tutor, and then Python check if dir exists. So let's see, how do you find directory exists? So this is stupid. os.path.isdir, os.path.exists. So seems like os.path.exists, and then some directory. So let's do that. So import os, or actually import exists from os, import exists as os exists, or is it what? Oh, path. Okay. So from os, import path, and then let's say print path dot exists, and then here we'll do test dir like so. So this gives us true, and if we go to test dir 2, this gives us false. So definitely os.path.exists works. And what you have in your code, just to see that, then you have this. So pictures. Right? And then like something like pi pics or whatever. And I don't know if you're working with Linux or Windows, but let's try that. So users, and then Avi Zurel. So os.path.exists, and see that that's false, even though this directory exists. And the problem is that Python probably doesn't translate that. So slash user slash avizurl exists, and this one is like slash code doesn't exist, although it definitely does exist. So then users avizurl code does exist. So this is actually this expanded, but Python is probably just not expanding this user home. And I think there is, I know in Golang there is this os.home dir, home directory Python. So we have this. How do I do directory? So expand user. So we do this. So now from OS import expand user, right? No. What is it? Oh, from os.path. So we already have path, so we can just use this. So here, what we can do is say this and then code and then dot format path dot expand user and then this and then remove this. Let's see what we have here. It seems like I missed something. Dot format this. So this is true. So basically what you can see is that this and so not this, but this and this and this are the same. But all you need is to just expand the user path for your path. And this is probably what's not working in your Python code. So someone on LiveEDU is saying, is there an OBS script that will auto switch the screen for you? I will pay for that. I will pay for that. And again, I'm pretty junior with like OBS and all the customization. And most of those customization are non-existent for Mac. And I will definitely check. And I don't know like what's the you know, what is the, how do I say that? What is the like trigger for, you know, switching the screen will be, but I will definitely check that. And Jarm on Twitch is asking, what is this for in string in Python? So this is a placeholder. So when I say 2, or let's say hours, like this, right? So this is a string, and then I format 2, then it will give me 2 hours. And when I have 2 of these, and let's say 2 point, and then 2, and then 5, it will give me 2.5 hours. So this is a formatting placeholder. So when you have, my goodness, fucking shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for like cursing on the stream. Now I need to make it now I need to make it like explicit on YouTube, I guess. So this is just a string placeholder for formatting. So you have this and this, and then you do format like 2 and then 3. This will give you 2.3. All right. But you can also have like this is 1 and this is 0, and then it will be different. So yeah, string formatting pretty simple in Python. And the purpose of this is to never ever do something like x plus y plus something plus something else. My God, like when I see code like that, I get blinded. Okay, So live edu, someone is linking, Shandu is linking some OBS resources. Let's check that. Automatic switcher. This plugin is based on the built-in scene switcher. It extends functionality by adding full screen, a hotkey to start and stop, cursor position based on scene switching, the ability to automatically pause, ignore window, sequence, read write, current scene, executable. So Jumpy.io is following on Twitch. Thanks for the follow. We really, really, really appreciate it. Again, stream info is up here. And all up here. And all the information you're going to need on the stream is there. So feel free to jump in the Discord. I really want, the Discord to be active, because then I can, jump on the Discord even when I'm not streaming. And yeah. Okay, so anybody else on the chat has questions? We have, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 14, 13 people on Twitch. And I think like 3 or 4 on Live EDU. Okay, so if someone okay, so Twitch is now having something interesting I want to expose here. Also lives in Maryland. Okay, so Cam Zach and Jarm live in the same state. I don't really know if they live close to each other, because I have no idea. But maybe you can hook up, and you can help Jarm with some networking there. Right. Oh, cool. So Cam Zach, I see you do React, by the way. This is cool. I love React. Cam, dude, this is such a hard question to answer. I do everything. Hotels. This is one of the recent React app I built for the previous company that I worked for. Maybe they even closed the APIs, I'm not sure. And yeah, I do, I say that I'm like the, the cliche of the full stack engineer. I do anything from, again, like React to DevOps. So yeah. All right. Programming. All right. So Johnny Hollick can't see screen. Now you can. That's all right. And yeah, this is really cool. I really, really like this. You have to change the title in liveedu.tv as Q&A or something. I don't think a lot of people are still awake, to tell you the truth. I mean, if we're honest, I'm not sure I'm even awake anymore. All right, so here, you want to change this one? Shandy, what do you want it to say? Q&A? Q&A, that's it? dude, I'm like seriously non-creative in these things. I have zero copy uh, ability. Um, um, so let me know what you okay, Q&A. What Q&A? That's it. All right, I said like Q&A, comments, question about code, career, and more. All right, this is good. Now Twitch. So I have a module that calls a third-party API for testing. Should I mock the response or should I send the request to the API server? And first, let me go to the simpler question, which is why do you hate using plus in Python? Why do you prefer format? So the stuck-up question is that you only use one string um, when you do format, and you use multiple strings when you do concatenation. That's the stuck-up question, but nobody cares about that because this is micro-level optimization. And the simple answer is for readability. It's much more readable. It makes your code much easier to debug, much easier to reason about, and you understand what is the final string without breaking your eyes and understanding trying to understand what's happening. Um, okay, so acidic mushroom. I have a third-party API for. So I have a module that calls a third-party API for testing. Should I mock the response or should I send the request to the API server? So in your module that tests the API, you call the API, you record the response, and there is a lot of projects that do that. So it's called VCR in Rails, and it's basically calling the API once and then saving a YAML file of that API response. So then you don't call the API, and this probably has solutions in every language. So Ruby, Python, and whatever. And this is what I would do in the module that calls the specific API. Now, in your app, you use that module, and when you use that module, I would mock that module. All right? So you need to go from the lower level to the higher level. So in the lower level, I would call the real API and record the real API and work with the real API response. Okay, but not call it every time that I have tests. Just call it once, record the API call, and then record all the API calls once a week or something like that, right? So this is the lowest level. Now, some other module in your app is calling that module that is calling the API. So I would then mock this module and say, so now get me the users. So I would return the users without even worrying about the internal implementation of that module. And this is how I would test it. And then what you would see is that a lot of parts of your system might use that module and they would use that mock, but only that module will care about the internal implementation of the third-party API server. So for example, if that module is now a factory of get me the users, then only in that module do you care about how you get the users. But in other modules, you care about I need users back. You don't care about how this module is getting users. So I hope that answers your question. Taking another sip of water from my huge mug. So this is how I would test it. I definitely think there is solutions for that for or every language. Yeah. Okay, so anybody else has questions, whether on Twitch or on Live EDU, and which? All right, so let's see. So acidic mushroom, which node module captured the response? I can't find one. All right, so let's do this. Let's do VCR node. And Sepia is a VCR-like module for Node.js that records. So this is 2015. So I don't know if I would use this one. And I see VCR here. Record XML HTTP request calls and send them using local storage. So this might be another good one. No, this is bullshit. What else? Yakback. So this is Yakback. Did you know the new front end Flickr, one big Flickr API client? Yeah, this looks like this is a good one. So Yakback looks good. Just search for like VCR node or something like that. It's definitely it definitely exists. And if it doesn't, it's and it might be worth it for you to build it. But I think this like Sepia node. So this project looks like it deserted because they have issues. This repo is no longer maintained. Check the replayer. So I see a replayer here. Here, a replayer. So this looks good, and this looks maintained. So the last is May 24th. So, you know, for a project like this looks good. Has been abandoned, replayer VCR like. So you have VCR mode record and VCR playback and cache. You see? So this is exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure. Okay, so we have been streaming for, I feel, more than an hour and 50 minutes. Definitely feel more like an hour and 50 minutes. But for almost 2 hours. And I love the question and I love the interaction. So definitely, you know, keep them coming. If you have more questions. Again, the purpose of this stream is to answer the viewers and, you know, the people in the chat. And again, just as a reminder, even when the chat is offline, there is a link up here to the chat, and I think it's the link for Discord, and I think it's avi.io/discord, and this will take you to the chat. Again, the chat is completely free to join. And even when the stream is offline, I'm watching the chat. So please feel free to join in and ask questions and be active. All right. So anybody else has any questions or comments? So we can close all of these. Okay, Rodsky, are you still around? I'm not sure if Rodsky is still around. All right, so Jarm on Twitch, good night, man, and I really enjoyed answering your question. Feel free to ask more questions on Discord as well. I would love Jarma Hent. Okay. Thank you for that. So feel free to again ask questions on Discord. You can also DM me on Discord. So again, feel free to use that resource as much as you want. And good luck with your career. And check back to the stream. I will answer more of your questions. And good night. No problem at all. Um, okay, so yeah, that's all right. Don't worry about that at all. You I think you will find that it will be hard to annoy me. Uh, okay, so live edu has a question. Talk about how you start this project. Okay, so this project is one of my open source projects. It's called Go Solar Proxy. And to understand what this is, you need to understand the problem. So the problem with Solar and the problem with any kind of search cluster is that you have one master and a few slaves, and any one of those slaves can be offline at any time, and your application needs to maintain a state of which slave is online, which slave is offline. So what I wanted to do is I want to have one proxy that the application will call, and whether that call needs to go to the master, it will go to the master, and whether that call needs to go to the slaves, it will go to the slaves. It will load balance the slaves. So basically, if I have 3 or 4 or 5, then it will load balance them. It will use round robin to load balance them. And also, what I wanted is to have a backup of all of my documents. Okay. So do you want me to talk about the motivation for this project or how I started this project? What would you want to focus on more with like talking about this project? So I'm not sure, like, what do you want to talk about, the motivation or? Okay, so learn about the code. So let's learn about the code. And one thing I do want to mention is that if I am not mistaken, this was one of my first projects with Go. So again, I knew I wanted to solve this problem, and I knew I had this problem, and I knew I wanted to learn Go. So why not do it with Go? So I don't think I have this project checked locally. So let me check that locally first. All right, so everything in my Go project starts with cmd main.go. So proxy, proxy, and then solarproxy.go. So what you can see here is that, let's close this one for clarity, and let's put it in a bigger font because we're reading code right now. Okay, so what you can see is we have this struct called the pinger, and what it opens is it opens a ping to localhost, right? And what you can see is we have a handler for configuration, we have a ping, and then we have a handle, right? And the handle does listen and serve, okay? And proxy is here, so proxy.go. And as you can see, we have a new proxy, which will get a proxy config, and will return a pointer to a proxy. And here in the proxy, what we do is we have a simple like muxer, or a muxer if you want. And we say, hey, if I have an update in my in my URL or URI, right? Then go to the first server, which is always the master, right? Else, go to the, if not, if, sorry. So if I have that, go to the updater. If I don't have that, go to the reader. So now let me go to the updater. And all the updater does, it basically sends the request to Solr, right? So we have this one, read, and we have a request body, request, and then parse XML document. We parse the document, and then we upload that to AWS, and we write that to the buffer. So we basically update Solr and write it to AWS. But I think like now reading the code, is really not gonna teach you a lot. What you would want to do is you want to think about what the problem was and then see how I solved that problem using code. And the problem was that we didn't have a single point of configuration for our Solr servers. And also we did not have a backup. So what we wanted is to have a backup of all the documents. So when we want to change one parameter in all the documents, we don't have to re-index all of the documents. So instead of re-indexing the documents, what we could do is we could grab all the documents from S3, change some parameter, and then resubmit the documents to the proxy in the same way. And if you think about it, now you can re-index your entire Solr cluster without ever touching your database. So let's say you have documents that store hotel information, and you want to update the score for all of the hotels in your cluster, and let's say you have 2 million, right? Let's say you have 40 million. Let's say you have 50 million. Think about, even if one of them hits the database once, you're going to do 50 million query to the database. But what would you do better is if you could just grab the documents, update, one item or one field, and then once you updated that field, then you could just resubmit that document to your cluster. And if you think about that problem this way, then you understand this code better. So Cucumber Pro 1 on Twitch saying hi back. Just so you know, the purpose of this stream is to, today at least, is to answer people's questions. So if you have a specific question or not a specific question, feel free to ask. And again, just to remind people, all the stream information is up here. There is information here. So there is information where the chat is, where the stream is, the blog, all the links that you will need, and so on. And you can see it it kind of changes. So avi.io/discord for the chat. There's also the link to the blog. Where is it? Here. So there's a link to the blog here. And there's a link to my Twitter and the stream. And again, feel free to jump in on Discord. Discord is active even when the stream is offline. So again, feel free to jump in there and ask questions even when the stream is offline. All right. So Shandu, I hope I answered that question, and I hope it will help you with your journey with Go. All right. So Cam Zach on Twitch is asking a question. Have you done a bunch of React development? The answer is yes. I have done a bunch of React development. Um, all right. As far as state management is concerned, what core principle have you done a bunch? Okay, so as far as state management is concerned, what core principles architecturally do you think are required? Okay, so in terms of core things that are required, as I see it for React, is this. I think rule of thumb: if your component doesn't care about the Redux state, use a pure component and don't carry a state from the application into the component or vice versa. So if, let's say, you have a button, that button doesn't need to be connected to Redux at all. And you can use the internal, component state, and not carry the state from the application. One other thing that I think is not only required but necessary, and I think it's really a basic thing that people make mistakes with, is the not worrying about whether the component needs to update or whether the component does not need to update. And I think what you see in a lot of applications is that if you check in the Redux dev tools, if you check the show updates, then what you will see is that a lot of people are just like updating their entire application just because something in the header needed to change and they connected it to the Redux state and did not worry about the rest of their application. So I think those like 3 or 4 rules that I mentioned here are absolutely like basic and necessary for every React application. How about in less specific sense to Redux, but higher level ideas like immutability, data flow, global app state? So in terms of like Redux specific, this is not Redux specific. This is global state versus internal state. And this is React specific. So the app, the component needs to update is React. So none of what I said, other than like using the name Redux, was specific to Redux. So just you can take Redux and say it's something else. It doesn't really matter. In terms of data flow, I think and here I will mention Redux specifically. I think the data flow that Redux does, where everything flows in kind of this circle, where it flows up in terms of like triggering the actions, and then it flows down in terms of like the state. I think that's really the way to build applications today, because that's really the only way you can scale it. I think there is a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of like gluing those events together. But this is really not something that you would need to do in your application. I think it needs to be managed in the in the library tier. So one-way data flow, I definitely think is the way to go. Global app state and internal app state, and internal component state, I said. So event-driven design. I think with event-driven design, you can do a lot of damage. Because what happens is if you trigger events and you don't worry about who's catching those events and who's listening in those events and who does and what do they do with those events, you can do a lot of damage to your application and a lot of damage to the performance of your application. So event-driven, this is JavaScript, so everything is definitely event-driven, and you should have some events in your system, but I think doing it too much is considered harmful. I don't, for me, it's like it's a problem being specific but not specific enough in a way that I don't know what's your application look like and what do you need to worry about. So I really I would love to go into more specific than that, but just lead me to where where are you having issues, or where do you think you're having issues, and so on and so forth. Okay. So what do you mean by out of band data? Useful answers. How about solving out of band data? So components in React do not describe what is required for me to work. So first of all, components in React do describe. You can definitely describe in React what does a component need to work. There is and whether a component and actually if you don't supply what the component needs to work, then it will just not work. So prop types is a great solution for that, and it's definitely also a great solution for a consumable component to like a lot of parts of the application. So yeah, it doesn't tell you the structure of the data, and this is JavaScript. This is where it's powerful, and this is where you can use or abuse, right? um, you can use or abuse you can use or abuse that, and um, you know with something like Go or Java or any static, then you need to really have a well-defined object. And if you have an array of objects, then it can be only an array of some objects. Um, so you just gotta be careful, right? You just gotta be careful, and if you need to add comments, then you need to add comments, and use descriptive variable names. Don't use like ARR. Use um, users array, or use user authentication completed. Don't use U or X or Y. You know what I mean? Um, so you can self-document your code just by giving good variable names and a couple lines of comments. Still, your component might be abused. And when you think about an engineering organization, right? I don't know what your status is, right? But for example, for us, I work at a company. We have like 35 engineers. So when you build something, you know how you use it, but you never know how other people will use it. So you need to build it in a way that other people will use it, and you need to protect against other people using it. Not because they're stupid, just because they're not you. They don't really understand what you wanted. So if your code is not descriptive enough, if your variables are not descriptive enough, then mistakes like that will happen more and more and more. Um, so again, I hope that answers your question. And again, feel free to ask more. You're in no way limited to one or two. Okay. People on live edu, let me know if you have any other questions as well. I would love to. All right. So Zach, maps versus some in-memory DB Redux state. That is. Um, Depends on the size. I think you would have to convince me not to use the in-memory DB. You would have to really let me know why. Um, why not? Okay. All right. Oh, you mean okay. So I got you the other way around. So you would again you would have to convince me why not to use a dictionary. You know what I mean? You would have to explain to me what is the limitation of that dictionary that you're trying to solve, and why is your solution solving it. So let's say I want to use Redux state, and you say, okay, so I want to use that in memory DB, like that, whatever, or something. You would have to tell me specifically why the Redux state does not apply in your case. And I, dude, I know those. Um, you know, I know the benefits of using that. What I'm saying is, don't tell me the benefits of using that. And I've done that with earlier with someone. I said, okay, so you have a solution. Let's say one of the solutions is in-memory DB, and one of the solutions is Redux state, right? You say, okay, in-memory DB has that and that and that and that, and Redux state doesn't have all of these. So when you work through a problem, when you discuss a solution, the better, the more features, the solution will always look better. But what I'm saying is that if you approach it from the problem, then you might not need one of the solutions. Right. So just 1 second. Just 1 second. Let me type in something here. Okay. Okay, so I just want to show something here. So this is one of the latest React apps I worked on. Let me just refresh that. So you can first see this is using APIs. So this is not cached or any like sort of thing like that. This is using APIs. Look how fast it is, right? And as you can see, there's like pictures here, and there's pricing, and pricing information is requesting from a microservice, and so on and so forth. So and this is all using Redux. There is no database, there is no query, there is no nothing like that. And again, going back to what you said, let me just say this. So live edu, someone is saying, Shandu 19, I still don't understand how did you achieve this knowledge without formal education. So which knowledge do you mean exactly? What do I say, or how do I come out in a way that makes you think that I would need a formal education to have that knowledge? And going back to Twitch here, what are you talking about? So yeah, we're basically I'm making a stream to answer programming questions. This Oscar one. So feel free to ask questions if you have. Formal education only gets you in the door. It doesn't help you succeed in life. So thank you, Kem, for that. And I always say that, and I never run away. I never run away from that. People always ask me, on the stream and off the stream, what kind of education do I have? And I always, I tell the truth. I finished high school, but I don't even have a high school diploma. I never went to college. I never learned computer science. I'm self-taught, and as a self-taught engineer, I think it's the most important thing. Um, the most important thing in the world is thirst to knowledge, and knowing what questions to ask rather than what answers to answer. Um, Okay, so going back to that, to the React app here, as you can see, you can kind of view deal, and you can get more details about a hotel. You have more pictures, and you have reviews, and you can read more. And this is all real time. So as you go through, you can redo search. You can add more things on the map. So you can add like attractions, and you can add restaurants. You can zoom in. And this is all React from scratch. I obviously didn't do the design of it, but I did everything else. Um, so no, there is no push state from the server. What I'm saying in terms of real time is that all of the pricing information here is real time, meaning it's querying real time APIs of partners. So we can go here to a completely different like hotels. And if we actually look at this, what I want to kind of, you know, and this is for Shandu 19 on Live EDU. This is not only the client side app. So what I had to do is also solve a clustering issue. Let me find that. Where is that? Solar clustering. Yeah, there it is. So I also had to rewrite the clustering solution in the search cluster. So, in order to do that, I needed to write a new search algorithm to sort things not only by distance, but by cluster rings inside of the search cluster. So for that, I had to write Java. And I think it's also open source, like everything I do. And you can see it here. And as you can see, this is old, so 2015. So in order to do this app, it's like more complexity than you see here, because the complexity in the search cluster and the complexity in the API is I've done all of those. And Cam, this goes back to your question. So I've done the client side, I've done the API side of it, and I've done the search clustering of it, including the DevOps of it. And I'm not trying to be I don't even know the word. I'm not trying to glorify myself here. What I'm trying to say is that we've been talking here for a long time, and what I'm trying to say is that as long as you can consume a problem in a small enough piece, you can solve anything you want. Solar syntax is pretty nice. Have you ever done anything with parsers, ASTs, and compiling into anything? So what do you mean? For Solar, like parsers? Yes, of course. I've done, so like I mentioned here, up until February of this year, I worked for this company. And all of this search that you see here, I've done all of that search cluster. It was really interesting work. So this like Paris, and you can also search Paris, like hotels, and it will give you that. And that like Paris, like that. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Generating, like taking Solar syntax, generating query for a different backend. No, I never done that. We only used one backend, so we didn't really need all of that, like generate backends and stuff like that. Um, okay, so it's getting late here, and I have a big ride in the morning, so I'm gonna call it a night. thank you everyone for being here with me on the stream. Someone followed Crashman1012. Thank you for following, and Cam Zach, no problem at all. Zach is saying thank you for answering, so no problem at all. So people here on Live EDU, thank you for being here. People here on Twitch, thank you for being here. And again, up here, above my hands here, so up here, there's all the info about the stream. So the chat for Discord, and the link to the blog, and the link to my Twitter, and useful links. So again, feel free to jump in the Discord. Discord, like I said for the millionth time, is also I'm watching that even off the stream. So so feel free to jump in there. Cam Zach is asking, do you stream daily? The answer is yes. So I stream daily at 9 p.m. PST. I try to do it on daytime as well, but it's harder because I have 3 kids and the house is noisy. And if the house is not noisy, then I'm at the office. So it's hard to do it during the day, but 9 p.m. daily. Definitely starting next week, it's going to be 9 p.m. daily. So check back in. And again, follow on Twitter. I always announce on Twitter at least a few hours ahead. And jump in the Discord. So I'll open like an announcement room, and we can communicate there. So thank you. And Live EDU, someone said, don't go, wait 1 minute. So I'm going to wait 1 minute. How did you learn programming, networking, web development? Share how you did it. Okay, I will share how I did it. So first of all, I started early. I am 35 years old now. The first code I ever wrote was when I was 14. So if you make a simple calculation, that means that the first code I wrote was 21 years ago. So I started early. It's not like, I have that level of knowledge and I started 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, or 7 years ago, right? I started a long time ago. I started early. And I started because it's a passion of mine. So I'm not a professional programmer or professional engineer just because the money in it. I'm a professional engineer because I love to create. And this is a creative outlet for me. So when you come to being an engineer through that, I think you already have the upper hand over everybody else that thinks this is a job for the money. So starting early, that's one. Second is I never learned one subject just to learn one subject. So, like Rodsky asked, like an hour ago, how do you build a recommendation system? And I told you that, look, I built a recommendation system, but I never opened a book and saying building recommendation systems for idiots. You know what I mean? I never opened a book like that and read through all of the theoretical information about building a recommendation system and all the different algorithms there is. And I okay, so let's sit with product. Let's think about what do we want? How do we want to, not how the technical implementation, but what are the results that we want the users to have? And then I implemented it. But then when I went to implement it, I took it in chewable pieces and consumable pieces in a way that I only had to learn about a subject for a week or a month or a day. So again, like I said, so first, before you want to do anything, you want to build classifier for text, or you want to build a classifier for rating. So I would read everything I can about a classifier for rating, but only that. And because I did only that, then my mental capacity to learn only that was really, really high. So then when I came to implement that part, I knew a lot about that part. And then the day later, I needed to do something else. So I only learned about that part. You know what I mean? I only learned about that specific chunk of my application and that specific chunk of my problem space, and I only learned that. And when I focused on that and just like piece by piece, I knew more and more about building a recommendation system, and piece by piece, I knew more about building search clusters, and piece by piece, I knew more and more about React. So this app that I linked from before, where is it? Oh, it's not here anymore. So this one, this is my first ever React app. All right. So this is literally the first ever React app I have ever built. And I didn't know React before. And if I would try to learn React, React, the subject. Sorry. So this. So this is the first React app I built, the React app I showed before. It's like the first lines of code of React I've ever written. Other than, hello world in React. So again, I knew I wanted to learn React. I knew I had a problem I wanted to solve. We wanted better maps. We wanted better conversions for the map. We wanted better experiences for our users. And I knew I wanted React. So I didn't want to go learn React, or I didn't want to learn state management. You know what I mean? I didn't learn one umbrella subject like that. I had a problem in the app. I learned everything I can about that specific little piece of problem, and moved on. And chose another really, really small piece of problem and moved on. And this is 60 seconds of how I learned how I learned to code. So I really hope that helps, that helped and answered your question. Other people in the chat room, I'm gonna leave it for one last question. So someone on Twitch won the last question award. So Sandy Kick. To make a website, you have to learn how to make backend, DB, REST, some framework security, front end, HTML, CSS. That's a huge amount. So first of all, I agree. It's a huge amount, but here's what I think people make mistakes. For me, building a website now, or building this part. So you weren't here, or you were, I don't know, but I said that this specific app, I built the front end, the back end, the search cluster, the DevOps, all of it. But again, you can't take my example and apply it to everyone. I'm not a genius, not because I'm a genius, but because I have a lot of experience, and because I've touched many products, and solved many problems. But for you, not you specifically, but any junior engineer, when they say, hey, I want to build a website, what they do is they focus on too many problems at a time. So let's say you want to build a website. Okay, you want to build a website. What does that website do? Do you even have to worry about the backend, or you can use one of those backends as a service? If you can use one of those backends as a service, you just took off months of planning and securing and deploying and doing shit that you don't need. All right? So what does your app need to do? What is the absolute minimum you as an engineer have to do in order to comply with what your app needs to do? All right? So it's a huge amount, but if you think about it as a huge amount, then you will never ship it. But if you think about it piece by piece, then you will ship it. You will ship it. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that was a question or a comment, or you expected something else from me, but Let me know if you have any follow up. And again, if someone has like a final, yeah, step by step, baby steps. And this is like the way to go. When and this is, I talk a lot about I talk a lot about that in the stream, about like how I specifically personally solve problems. And I always say, look, I am stupid. Like, I am really, really stupid. If I try to think about problems in big chunks, I will never ever solve them. What I have as a talent and what I consider my gift is being able to take one big complex subject and tear it down to pieces that a stupid guy like me can understand. So if I say, okay, build a recommendation system, then what a lot of people would do is they would go and buy 3 books about recommendation system, read them for 3 months, and never ship anything. What I do is I take my recommendation system, build this recommendation system, and I say, okay, where do I start? Okay, so first I need to pull all of the rating information. I start there. I don't even worry about the rest. At that specific moment, I don't even care that I need to write a recommendation system. I only care that I need to pull in rating. And after that, I only care that I need to cluster rating in one group. So I only do that now. And then after I cluster rating in one group, I say, okay, what is my decay function? How do I decay the rating over time? And then I write that function. And then I say, okay, how do I store it? And then I worry about storage. How do I access it? And then I worry about access. And before you realize it, I have a recommendation system, and I never knew I had a recommendation system. So this is the way I solve problems. This is what I consider my gift. Just taking one huge chunk of problem space and tearing it down to problems that are simple enough for me to understand. And I think if engineers can do that, just dumb yourself down to the point where you can think about the smallest chunk possible, you will succeed with solving problems. Again, I wanna thank you all, both on Live EDU here and Twitch, for being here. Today was an absolute pleasure. I don't think I wrote a single line of code, but I think I helped a bunch of people with questions. Definitely check out the stream again. It's gonna be daily at 9 p.m. PST, starting next week, on Monday. And again, check out the stream details here. There is Discord for chat, so avi.io/discord. It's a chat, and it's completely free to join. It's a third-party app. It's not mine. So feel free to join in there in the chat. The important thing to understand is that the chat is live even when the stream is offline. So people can help other people. We already have like 10 people, or 8 people in the chat, helping each other. So that's really cool. And make sure you follow, subscribe, follow on Twitter, and so on and so forth. And thank you, for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm gonna see you next week. Bye.